What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Sports Debates. Brian, Dwayne, and Emmanuel all here the day after the NBA Finals, Game 7. The Oklahoma City Thunder crowned NBA champions for the first time in their franchise's history. It was the first final series to go 7 games since 2016. So, as basketball fans, it was very exciting. Obviously, last night's game did not go as expected with Haliburton's injury, which we will talk about along with everything else. But Emmanuel, I'll start with you. You've gotten a good night's sleep. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling absolutely great. It's been 13 years. It's been some rough couple of years with the rebuilding. Uh, the guys that didn't make it on this team and this team that is here now, I'm absolutely proud of them. I want to thank Sam Presti out there for the wonderful trades he made and the draft stock. We're going to be drafting 6-year-olds like stars in a couple of years.
Dwayne, how about you as a basketball fan? Since we were neutral, how are you feeling?
Well, I guess being a Warriors fan as well is kind of like, you know what? Give them their flowers. Like it is this is it's true. I mean, it's been a minute since they've even been this close, let alone, been this good. And in all respects, this is one of the greater playoffs in general, the playoff runs in for the Thunder that we've seen. Obviously, you kind of have to say that because they win chip. But if it was really easy, then we'd been like, well, the other Thunder team was still better, blah blah blah. But we're sitting in here looking at this from just a pure basketball perspective. This is, and I know not a lot of people gonna like this, but this is good for basketball. This shows defense does win championships. This shows, hey, a different winner every year so far. Like that to me, that shows a good look for the NBA because now anybody can win.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch a lot of regular season basketball, so this was kind of the first time watching the Thunder and the Pacers, like multiple games, and I just love that defense. I'm a defensive guy. Like that's what I love. I love a good defense in basketball, and like it was just fun to watch. And say what you will about how SGA plays and all that, but honestly, like being able to actually sit down and watch, I liked how the Thunder play. I'm not going to fall for the debate online and the narrative that's trying to be pushed. Like it's not that bad. They're a really fun team to watch, as were the Pacers, and that's what made this series so great because even though they're so different in terms of like their record in the regular season and the faces on their team, they were such a well matched teams, like depth wise, intensity wise. Both of them were able to expose each other's flaws when you didn't think a team like the Thunder had many flaws. It makes sense that this series went to 7, and it sucks that it's over because we're having a really fun time with it.
This series was a coaching masterclass
That
by
too, yep.
both sides. The constant adjustments, how Rick Carlisle decided to guard SGA and when to tell his players when to rotate over and how they would defend him in the passing lanes and constantly switching that. And then Mark Daigneault switching up his offensive style to rely more on J Dub and the other stars and role players on our team to actually counter the pressure and take it off SGA. And also taking Isaiah Hartenstein out because he was a defensive liability when it came to the switches, and instead using Jalen Williams to shut down all that. And it was just absolutely beautiful to watch if you actually enjoy the sport and not just like a casual enjoyer.
Yeah, I feel like this series was for the people who actually watch basketball. Like, don't just like there are the casual people who just like basketball. Of course, this isn't going to be as entertaining, I guess, in their eyes. But for someone who really loves basketball and the breakdown of how basketball works, this was just a beautiful series. The feeling of not sure, having a sure idea of who's winning what is so fun. Like we go, of course, we're going to give our predictions, but in the back of our heads, we're like, oh gosh, this really could go any other way. And to me, that's so fun.
Yeah, so diving into the numbers of the series a little bit. For the Thunder, They forced 75 steals, 41 blocks, led the series in both of those. They shot 43% from the field, 34% from three, which seems better than if you're watching the games
Yeah,
because they
cool.
had, if you look at games 4, 6, and 7, they shot under 30% from three, and they won two of those games. They shot 82% from the free throw line with a 108 defensive rating, a 111 offensive rating. SGA was the series MVP, 30 points a game, 4.5 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 2 steals, and almost 2 blocks a game. And I believe I saw it was the second most points in a final series since LeBron in 2016. J Dub also had a great series, 23, 5, and 4. He had a 40-point performance in game 5, I believe, which was a big turnaround for him. Chet and Alex Caruso also both averaged over 10 a game. Pacers, they shot 45% from the field, 36% from three. Pascal led the scoring with 19 points a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Haliburton averaged 14, 5, and 6. So the first thing I want to talk about, SGA's season. He won the regular season MVP, scoring title, Western Conference Finals MVP, and Finals MVP. Emmanuel, where does SGA's season rank among the best all time?
Oh, that's a tricky question. He not only gets the MVP, he gets the scoring title. He's a all defensive team member. He's also, 27 with the number one seed in the West, which is the strongest division once again, like always. We beat the three-time MVP. Wait, he's a three-time MVP, four-time MVP, something like that. It's
Oh,
not like,
three. Yeah.
oh yeah, Nikola Jokic. He's a ridiculous amount of MVPs out there. We beat them, take them to the 17, even though they get injured and whatever. But if I would say it's pretty high up there, maybe a top 10, maybe top five seasons all time if we're going to look at it from that perspective. The scoring and the dominate, it's not just the scoring, but the high efficiency as well, while also being high defensive, like a high defensive motor type of player as well. It was insane to see what he could do on defense, even though he's like really giving everything he got into that offense.
Yeah, this is a definitely a top five. 100%. I mean, he's the template basketball player. He's tall and lengthy, but can score crazy, give you like his stats show that. And this is easily a top five. I ain't going to say more than five because I need to look a little bit more deeper into that. But when we're talking about total season, like from start to finals win, 100%. I mean, there isn't many that can do that, to be fair. Sure, you can give some of the great names this type of team, but I don't know if they're having the same success as Shea's had. Like you put Vince Carter on that team, they're you know what I'm saying? Like he's good and by all means a great player, but not having the near success that Shea has had. Easily top five, if not four.
Like I said, I didn't watch a lot of regular season basketball, so all I knew about SGA was free throw merchant flops. We've talked about this a million times on the show, but watched most of the games during the postseason, and outside of a couple early on, I think games against maybe the Nuggets where he had some crazy flops. Like I was like, okay, it's not that bad. And Emmanuel, he's throwing out all the numbers where he drives a lot, like he does. Like, and while yes, he's looking for a foul, he does it
For the
differently than
game.
guys like Embiid, where he's score first, and if I get the foul, I get the foul. He's like watching it. I was like, I like the way he plays. Like it's not as terrible as people are saying it is. And so the way he performed, listening to him after the game, like he's a really good dude. He's a great player, and I think he should be the face of the league right now. I don't see why not.
Absolutely. I think for me, this opened my eyes to something that casuals have developed, and I feel like got to remove the veil real quick. That part of your game, that foul part, it's strategic. If the refs are calling it, why not use it?
Exactly.
So if I got a flail and whatever, because obviously I'm not doing that every play. But if I have to on occasion to get a call, I might as well. The refs are giving it to me.
Like when they slow down like the plays and
Mm.
love replay because you actually get to see and like he'll be going up for a shot. He feels an arm on him. So he's going
Even
to use
yeah,
that to
right.
his advantage where I can get two and maybe if I get it in, I can get 3 points out of it. That's what you want to do.
And unlike other players, namely Luca and like these other guys and Embiid as well, he doesn't often go crying to the refs when he doesn't get a call. He's like, I didn't get it. And another thing is he's in your head the entire time. You're thinking this. You got to be smart. And you see this in Game 7, where I want to say was it Benedict Mathurin who jumped on him? At least he
No, it
was
was
getting
Neesmith.
yeah
It was his
Neesmith
final foul. Yeah,
yeah Neesmith jumped on him while he was getting there. I'm like,
you
why are
got to
you
know.
jumping?
Yeah,
He's not going to shoot a half court shot. I can promise you that. It's, it's just like you have to be smart when you're playing him, and often he'll make you pay if you're not, conscious of what you're doing every second that you're guarding him.
My problem is I spend too much time on social media. And so I see a lot of comments from people, right? And the two biggest comments, you guys have seen them too, is one, Mickey Mouse ring, because supposedly if Halliburton plays, everyone knows that the Pacers would have won. Big what if there. And the second is the classic Pacers versus refs, right? Both of those we can agree are unfair statements, especially the one about Halliburton. I hate the Mickey Mouse ring argument for any championship. Like, I feel like every year someone has a reason why that ring is a Mickey Mouse ring. And it's always correlated to some injury or something. I would like to see an NBA playoffs where all 16 teams were completely healthy and nobody was hurt. It's part of the game. And yes, it sucked. Trust me. All three of us, we were watching the game together. We were distraught when Haliburton was on the floor.
yeah.
Emmanuel included. We don't want to see that. But Pacers, they were in that game until the fourth quarter. And you never know what can happen. We've seen teams win after star players go down. Eagles in 2017, their quarterback goes down, they win the Super Bowl, right? It happens in sports. I think that's an unfair thing. If anyone has any comments on those claims.
Obviously, as an OKC fan, I was really rooting for my team. And when I see Haliburton go down in that first quarter, I was devastated. I was expecting this Game 7 to be historically great. And, injuries suck. But like Ryan said, they're part of the game. This team here, they're all about making adjustments. So, yes, was he hot in the first 8 minutes of the game, hitting 3 consecutive threes? Absolutely. But OKC is meant to make adjustments. And you can talk about what if he stayed, what would have happened here, there, and that but you really don't know because this entire series has been about making adjustments. Because as you see, when the second quarter ends, the Pacers are actually up by 1, but when they come back from break, the Thunder just punch them in the face and go on a large run there. And it's all about adjustments. That's what this team's about, and that's what this game is about. So obviously the injuries suck, but you got to play through them. And honestly, why did Rick Carlisle sit Pascal Siakam for so little time? We all know darn well that Pascal Siakam had to be out there on the court there, and you put out Ben Shepherd and Tony Bradley instead. Like this is a Game 7, right? Rick Carlisle, like these guys aren't going to do anything. Get T.J. McConnell some help. He was the only person who scored for most of the third quarter. I know he had a lot of turnovers, but that's because he had to take it upon himself because nobody else was doing it. It's a shame that you have to force T.J. McConnell, of all people, to step out of his role and play a role that he's not used to. He's a great guy, but that's not his role.
First of all, I find the Mickey Mouse ring type stuff very silly. As you said, find me a playoff in general where somebody doesn't get injured or someone isn't already injured before the playoffs. Like you can't. And that's part of the game. Like people are getting upset about a part of the game that nobody can control and they're going to call it against the opponent. It's just not how basketball works. It's just not. Almost every year, no, not almost every year somebody gets injured that was on possibly a great team and they fall. That's just the cycle of sports in general. But now we're going to diminish the person that's won a championship or made it that far. Like they've even talking about the Indiana having an easy time. And we're like because Tatum got injured, so the Knicks won. Like this is not. We're not starting this. That is silly mind thought. That is a silly way to think.
Another thing about the OKC run, we played top 10 offensive teams. I know John Morant got hurt, but really that injury was so easily preventable if his teammate just went up for the layup himself. He tried to get all cute, and Lou Dort goes around to try to play actual defense, but slips and falls. It's a freak action. I mean, a freak accident, and right there, preventable. You go against the Nuggets, they take him to a game 7, and I believe Aaron Gordon ended up landing on somebody's foot. That's how he got injured. You can't control that, and you got to build teams to survive injuries. And
Also, the Grizzlies weren't gonna win
yeah,
anyway.
Yeah.
they weren't going to win that series, but people still complain about it. And then you look at the Timberwolves. Was anybody even really hurt from the Timberwolves? They didn't.
I mean,
They claim Anthony
and
Edwards was hurt.
was like he fell a few times and it was something with his leg, but it wasn't that big of a deal.
And I was going to say, if we're going to complain about that, have you seen how many times Jalen Williams has fallen this playoffs with some horrific falls? He's
Like
cleared
I
over.
say, yeah.
He's cleared over some guys, and it's been brutal. But like he's gotten up, and it's just like luck of the draw. He didn't get hurt on those falls, and it's just tiring to constantly hear this because they're just casuals who just watch the NBA just to watch the NBA or watch something. They don't really understand the sport, and it's a tired narrative. I'm tired of hearing for anybody.
With all that being said about the finals, we have to talk about the injury. We all witnessed the Halliburton injury. We knew it was a tear. It was so similar to what happened to Dame and Jason Tatum. So I'll just give my take on it. Obviously, this is going to be a rough year for the Pacers. Coming to the next year, and even this series, they still fought, and it proves that they still are a set team without it, which is really good, a really good show. But that didn't stick. I don't know what the ETA for those
Almost
are
the
the
entire
entire
season,
year. Yeah,
entire next season. Yeah.
yeah, so it's one of those things where we'll get into that, but are the Pacers going to be in the same spot?
It truly, truly tragic to see that live TV. Absolutely, I was absolutely devastated as an OKC fan. I was okay with losing Game 7 if it was to Tyrese and a full healthy team. It was respectable. But seeing it go happen, truly feel bad for Tyrese. I really hope the recovery and everything. I wish him a speedy recovery. But right now, as an NBA, as fans, we have to take injuries more serious. People were talking about Tyrese faking the injury. It's a right calf strain and everything else. We always want these players to play on these injuries because it's part of the game. You got to be tough and blah 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 blah. But when these happen, all of a sudden everybody shuts up and it's all of a sudden prayers are up for this guy after y'all were endorsing this. And obviously, I get this is Game 7, right? He has to play for this. It's all or nothing here. This is where legacies are born and created. But I'm talking about like just regular season and everything else, where players are encouraged to play on to these injuries and everything else, and people think they're faking them and all this other stuff. It's ridiculous and sad to see. And now the Pacers are going to be without their star player for an entire NBA season. Truthfully, I don't think they're going to be where they are now. It's going to be a tough. It might be. I mean, it might be a weaker East because Giannis might be getting shipped out. Jason Tatum's going to be gone. The Celtics are supposed to be breaking down and everything else. The Sixers are going to be the Sixers, so they're not going to be any good. Maybe they'll make it into a top 5 team, but they're definitely not going to be a contender next year, unfortunately. But I really hope and pray that Tyrese Haliburton comes back because I hope the Thunder and the Pacers can run it back again and maybe take it to a Game 7 again, and they're both fully healthy to watch it because that would have been absolutely cinema, and I'm so sad that we didn't get to see that.
So now what it looks like is the off season for both of these teams.
So the Pacers aren't really losing too many people that they probably can't resign. Miles Turner more than likely is going to get resigned. Mostly, I want to say James Johnson. Johnson's probably not going to get resigned. I don't really see why you would keep him on there. I mean, he's an enforcer, so I guess you can keep him there just in case. Really, they're not losing much. They have T.J. McConnell. Most of this lineup's completely locked up for the future. The Thunder as well, completely locked up. We have the 15th overall pick in this year's first round, and the 2020 and the 24th of the first round, and the second round pick as well. So the Thunder's got their legacy secured. Contract is when it's going to start getting tricky. SGA is eligible for I want to say a $380 million supermax contract for 5 years, making him the highest paid supermax contract player ever in NBA history, averaging $76 or 76 million per year. So, contracts are going to be a little tricky thing for this team, but maybe we get like a Warrior situation where players are okay with taking a little less money. Please let it be like a Warrior situation. We can seriously be a dynasty, guys. Just, you know, you're already getting paid 76 million. Just take it to 70 or something. I don't know what we're going to do with the draft pick because we still have the number 8. We also have a lottery pick point guard that we never got to see because he tore his ACL. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him, maybe how he integrates into this team.
I think for both teams, honestly, if the GM obviously is smart, which I think they are, you can only get better this off season, and that's only by little moving pieces because your main pieces are pretty good. Obviously, for this Pacers, the injury to Haliburton is tremendous, so that's going to stump a lot. But at the same time, you make Siakam more confident in himself, or you make some of the other players you develop Matherin a little bit better during this time. So when it comes time now, Halliburton's back, and maybe not in the playoffs, maybe in the playoffs, but you stay at that level where you are ready to make that run when Halliburton is back. This is the same issue the Suns had, where they made a finals run that was really good. It just happened to lose against a really great Giannis, and then they split up the team. Let's not do that. Let's keep it the way we have it. I feel like for the Pacers, they're going to still be a strong team in the East regardless, because the East is just definitely weak. For OKC, I mean, what am I supposed to say? They can literally, like, it is impossible for them to get worse. Like, they have picks if anybody on that team, is not feeling it and wants to go somewhere else. And those picks will, and they know how to develop players. So it's like, what else do you really do? So for Thunder, they're just sitting and waiting for their next time to be here, which might be probably next year. Because honestly, the West is strong, but they're by far the strongest team. As we had almost predicted with Kevin Durant to now the Rockets for what was it, Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks and 5 picks.
The 10th overall pick of this year and 5 second round picks. Obviously, we knew the Suns had no leverage in this conversation. And when you look at this trade, if you isolate this trade alone and you don't look at what the Suns traded for KD to get here, this is not that bad of a trade for the Suns. You get a couple of seconds, you get the 10th overall pick, so you may be able to hit on that. You get Dylan Brooks is a great defensively, but you guys are not going to be contenders this year. So you guys are easily able to flip Jalen Green for something more valuable or something, or maybe develop. I don't know how it goes. Obviously, for the Rockets part, you guys definitely got better here. Hopefully, Kevin Durant does take a pay cut because he's getting paid $57 million this year, and long term, I'm sure he's going to be wanting some good amount of cash. Hopefully, he takes some pay cuts so he can stay with the team and keep it healthy because you guys got a really great young core. But overall, I would say the Rockets won this trade, and the Suns maybe got a C plus, like just about average, with maybe a B with this trade.
I feel like this was a good move for both teams in a sense. They're definitely going to ship out Jalen Green. It's too many. You have too many small forwards because Bradley Beal is.
You mean shooting guards?
Yeah, sorry, too many shooting guards because Bradley Beal is a sticky situation where he has a no trade clause, but he's not really filling the organization. So there's a whole saga with that. And the Rockets obviously got better. I mean, they're a scary team, I believe. They are, as I said. Well, I said last year they're not deserving of a 2 seed, but this year I would say with KD, most definitely they are. This is one of the more scarier teams.
I'm really excited to see the jump that some of the young guys on the Rockets have because now you get rid of Jalen Green. Now Cam Whitmore, who was basically on the bench all the time with when Jalen Green was a starter, now gets more time to develop and shine. And you got Amin Thompson, who I'm excited to see I'm expecting to see a really large jump in his contribution to the team. So I really think they're going to be a 2 seed. Will they beat the Thunder next year? I don't know. Kevin Durant, I don't know. You little traitor, you gonna stab us in the
That would
back
be
again?
ironic. That would be ironic.
Yeah,
That would be
that really
ironic.
would to go down Kate to KD's son. I'm also surprised OKC has four players that played for the Rockets at one point. It would be
That's
Russ,
crazy.
KD, James Harden, and then Chris Paul. Now, I just want to give one shout out, unrelated. Shout out to Paul George. This is for you. We really owe you. Maybe you can
That's
do this for the Sixers.
Nah, we got to get a Utah pick for that to happen. But anyways, thank you guys for this, watching this little quick one. We came up with last night. It was like, let's just run it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and this is Sports Debates. Peace out.